Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Franchise Unfiltered podcast. Today I'm joined by Joseph and Kay Barker. They're the founders of Musicologie. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey,
Happy to
thanks
be
for
here.
having us.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
excited for this one. We just had a great conversation before we hit record. So really excited to have you guys here. Super cool concept. You guys, we figured out you've got a son that's about the same age as my son. So I think anyone listening that has kids, like this is absolutely gonna resonate with. But even those that don't have kids, I mean, this is the name kind of gives it away. We're talking music here, and I mean that's something that impacts every single one of us. So really cool opportunity. But before I steal too much of your thunder, one of you, both of you, give us kind of the quick overview. What is musicology?
Yeah, Joseph, do you want to take that one?
yeah, for sure. Musicology, we do simply delightful music lessons. So if you picture um, private lessons with usually the kind of private lessons that I grew up with, I went to a woman in my neighborhood. I walked there every Saturday morning. So it's that traditional private lesson, but it's updated, it's well branded, it's safe, it's comfortable, it's positive. It's exactly what a modern parent like myself, like Kay and I, we're sending our 5-year-old to musicology right now. So that's been a super fun thing. But that's what we do. And we started as musicians, and so that's how we came to it. And that's how we come at the business model is as musicians, as teachers, and that's what musicology is.
It's all ages, it's all instruments, all abilities. Music makes us human and it's for everyone. So if you want to learn it, we teach it at Musicology. That's our
Yeah,
new tagline, by the way.
well, I think it's good, and I mean, I think it's great that it is all ages, right? I mean, we were talking before we hit record. Like one of my big regrets is that I didn't, I tried guitar lessons for, off and on for a year, didn't stick with it. I wish I would have. Like, how cool would it be to be able to like play an instrument, even if not like that well, but just be able to sit down and have fun doing it. But it's
Yeah,
probably never
totally.
too late to learn, right? So I think there's probably plenty of adults out there that feel the same way I do. Where they're like, man, how cool would it be to learn a musical instrument of some sort?
That's
Um,
it. That's exactly right. There's a lot of people who come to it with the idea that you have to have talent, you have to fit into a certain box, and you have to want to play Carnegie Hall and be able to kind of go down that path. There's the cliche of kind of the Russian piano teacher that's slapping your hands with a ruler, and that music doesn't have to be that. It's fun, it's exciting, it's for everybody. So yeah, if you just have a guitar in your bedroom, that's all I do now. Is I just have a guitar with my 5-year-old, and we just strum around, and it's super fun, and that's all it has to be. And you still get all of the benefits. There's health benefits, there's cognitive benefits, there's dexterity. It's just like everything, and that can happen if you're a kid. It can happen if you're an adult, if you're a retiree. It's just so beneficial and so fun. And if you approach it in that way, that music is supposed to be fun, then
yeah,
you can have a blast, and you don't have to worry about like if people are judging you, or if you're not good enough, or if you have talent. Like, who cares? Just have fun.
yeah, I like that. Well, and Kay, what you said earlier, music makes us human. I mean, it really is kind of crazy how many different emotions we can get from music. How it can be
Yeah.
very nostalgic, right? Like, you hear a
Mhm.
song from that reminds you of high school. I mean, it can literally like transport you back in
Yeah.
time. You don't get that from most other things.
Yeah, it's a full brain experience playing music, listening to music, right? I mean, the cognitive benefits from age 0 to age, 100 plus are there and real. And it just doesn't matter how good you get those cognitive benefits. And that emotional connection is what makes it magic. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun. Joseph and I get to do this every day, all the time, and share it with other people and convince people who say that they're not musical that they actually are. You actually
Right.
are musical. We are all musicians because it's not a job title; it's a mindset. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So you mentioned you guys are coming at this as musicians yourself. the way I understand it, you guys are actually pretty successful musicians. Played in a band, traveled around. I
Yeah.
mean, not amateur level musicians. Tell me a little bit more about your musical careers before starting musicology.
Yeah. Well, we both started playing instruments at a young age. And for me personally, I went to college for vocal performance. I studied piano performance as well. I also studied psychology too, because I just needed to overload my schedule apparently. But then, so I was all set to go to grad school. I'd gotten into grad school at OSU. I was
Okay.
going to study cognitive psychology and study like how people perceive music and interact with music in their brains. But instead, what happened was I met Joseph our senior year of college. And Joseph was a musician writing his own songs and performing them in a bar on campus. And we started performing music together. And when it came to graduation, I said to my parents, who took it quite well, that I was not going to go to grad school. Instead, I was going to hit the road with this guy I just met. So we toured for several years with our band. We were called Belarus. And yeah, I mean, we had a fantastic time. We played with some incredible musicians, some that you may have heard of, and others you may not have. A little bit more like deeper cuts, but
Yeah.
just some incredible musicians. We toured, fun fact, in a van that ran on waste vegetable oil.
No
So
way.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
So we would like pull up to Chinese restaurants have the best oil, and we would
That I
pull
can
up
see.
and
That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, siphon it into the back and filter it through and run it through our
So that
engine.
was
It
your
always,
tour
yeah, that
bus
was
and
our
tour van.
Yep.
tour van. Yeah, it always smelled like French fries. It was delicious.
Hey, there's
Uh,
worse things that the tour bus could always smell like,
it's
for
true.
sure.
It's true. Yeah, I've definitely
Seriously,
smelled
man. Yep.
much worse at tour.
Yeah, it could definitely be worse. So did your parents really take it well that you were passing up grad
I
school and
mean,
going
my
to tour?
parents are both chemical engineers at Procter and Gamble. And they, I think, knew from a pretty young age that they didn't understand me.
Yeah, got
You
from
know,
a little bit of a
they
different
didn't
cloth.
do music. I mean, they're musical and they each have their own level of ability, but it wasn't ever like a passion for them in the
Right.
same way that they could see that it was for me. And so at age 5, when I started begging them for piano lessons, my mom was like, "What do I do?" And honestly, like, I lucked out. She found a teacher who was incredible, and she was my teacher all growing up. She was a mentor to me for a decade. Where
Wow.
it's just a special relationship that you
Yeah,
have with an adult who's a mentor that stays with you more than just like your one school year cycle.
sure.
Someone who
Yeah,
grows with you. And so then when I started hearing from other people who didn't have experiences like that, or parents who just didn't know how to find
right.
what to look for in a teacher, that's kind of why one of the reasons why I wanted to create Musicologie was to be a place that parents could know, like, this is the place. My kid is going to love music. Like, that's the bottom line, no matter what. These teachers are here for my kid. So yeah, I think my parents, when I made that decision, they they took it in stride.
They weren't shocked. It doesn't sound like they
Yeah,
were shocked by
they
it
were.
necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think they
Well,
were.
Joseph seems like a pretty good guy, so you
Yeah,
know,
Yeah. Listen, I mean, how can you be mad at me? I mean,
yeah,
I
I
just want to have
imagine
fun.
that
That's it, you know?
that probably made it a little
yeah,
bit easier for them, and you've got
yeah,
the van that runs on vegetable oil, so you're like, hey,
Right.
we're not
We
going
were
to be
being
saving the earth.
economical. Yeah. You know,
not going to be
like
Yeah,
killing the
we,
environment as we travel around and play our music. But no, you
yeah,
bring up a good point. With the, like, in some ways you got lucky because you got a really good teacher and someone that turned into a mentor. I mean, I think about, like, if I wanted to get my son set up with, I don't know, guitar lessons and was just trying to find someone to do it one on one, like, yeah, I mean, I guess I could go to other people locally, ask for recommendations. I mean, we can, go online and look at reviews and stuff like that, but I don't really know what to look for. So then it's kind of hit or miss. Like maybe you get someone that's great, maybe you don't. I imagine there's probably a lot of people out there that, could have gone on to be very talented musicians and they just never had the right teacher or instructor or the right person to, kind of pull that out of them and get them really excited about continuing with it.
You're totally right. Yeah. And at Musicology, we say that every student deserves a great teacher. I think about like the things that I am passionate about and really chose to dig deep into are often the places just where I had a great teacher who shared that passion with me in an authentic way that really spoke to me personally. Whether it's music or not, like those mentors, those teachers really shape who we are. And
Totally.
so every student deserves that. And music is this special opportunity because it's so emotional, like you said before, because it's this full brain workout. It's so good for our brains, but it also teaches you empathy and it teaches you how to like make a daily habit and do
Mhm.
something every single day and work hard on something that you suck at for a
Yeah.
long time, right? And then you get up on stage and you perform it and it's this like exhilarating, it's this whole experience. And
Yeah.
it's this unique area, right?
Yeah.
Lots of
Yeah.
other places you can find mentors, but I think music has this special place. And I've taught a lot of kids where they're struggling in a lot of areas in their lives. Kids with ADHD
Hmm.
or just um, undiagnosed
Sure.
issues, but
Yeah.
that they were struggling. And when they came in for their lesson with me, it was going to be 30 minutes of I'm good at this thing even if everything else in my life sucks, I can
Yeah.
do this. It can be a win here in this moment. And it,
Kind of
it can
becomes like a
really,
safe place for them
yeah,
almost, but
yeah,
can then also build confidence that can,
exactly.
hopefully bleed over into other parts of their life where they're
Yeah.
not as confident. I mean, like for me having kids and as they start to get a little bit older, like my main thing is I want them to try as many different things as
Mm,
possible so then they can see, okay, what do they really want to gravitate to. 'Cause like we have three kids and the cliche or saying that all your kids are very different from each other, very true in our household. Like
yeah.
our three kids are super different from each other. So like they'll
Mm,
they'll all, I think gravitate towards different things, but we need to give them exposure to as much as we can, especially while they're younger and still, have that kind of, childlike mindset and, are kind of more free and just willing
mm.
to play and try different things, and I think that's important, to give your kids exposure to as much as you can. We'll get right back to the episode in just a minute, but if you've been considering business ownership, if you're already a business owner looking to expand and you're curious about franchising, I'd love to connect with you, answer any initial questions that you have, talk about a specific franchise, and detail the exact process that I use and have taken hundreds of people through to help them understand franchise ownership, find the right franchise for them, and conduct the necessary due diligence. Click the link in the show notes if you'd like to schedule a free, no obligation strategy call. I look forward to talking with you. And now back to the episode.
Yep.
It really is, and you made a good point at the beginning, Wes. You said like, how do you know who you should go with? What kind of a teacher? You don't know. You're not a musician, and that's one of the things that one of the problems that we're trying to solve. And we do it in a couple of different ways. And one is our 5-level teacher certification program.
Okay.
Over the 11 years that we've been in business, we've identified the things that make a great teacher. Like, what are the qualities that those teachers have who keep their students for a long time, who get great reviews. Typically, kind of in traditional private lessons, people say, "Hey, I have a degree in music," or "I performed Carnegie Hall," or here's my CV, here are my credentials." Those things don't make a teacher good with a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
And so what we've developed this whole framework to say, okay, we have identified these qualities and we measure them and we certify our teachers in those. And one of the very first things that every teacher has to do is they take a series of trainings that really help them understand how to take a really young kid through private lessons. Because a lot of people, the kind of person who comes in to be a private music teacher, they come from the performing world, or even if they have a degree in pedagogy from a university, even if they have a master's, they've been taught how to teach college students.
Right.
And so you put them in a room with an 8-year-old and they don't really know what to do. And so it's one of the things that we really focus on right away. And so providing that consistency, that consistent experience to parents and to students is it's honestly, it's a big challenge in private lessons, and it's one of the things that we're solving.
Well, especially now that you're franchising the business and you're bringing on franchisees that okay, now they have to go out and figure out how to hire the right types of teachers, and that consistency becomes even more important. And I work with hundreds of franchises, talk to people all day, every day that are considering, getting into different types of franchises. Probably the number one concern that gets brought up is, how am I going to find the right people, to work for me in my business? And I do believe that it's the hardest part of any business is, finding and keeping good people. And so, the fact that you guys have done all of the legwork, probably through a lot of trial and error, I would imagine, in terms of, figuring out like, all right, what are, these critical things that
we never made any mistakes.
No mistakes. Yeah. I'm sure. Not one bad hire in
not a single one. Yeah. No, you're totally right. You're totally right. And that is, I mean, that's what our business is. It's a people business. We put a teacher in a room with a student. And so that's the core of what we do as a franchisor, is support and enable our franchisees to find those teachers, to make those hires. And we really have, when we first started our franchising journey, that was the number one concern that everybody came to us with, was like, I don't understand teachers. I don't understand music. How am I going to find them? I don't know any teachers. Like, where are they? What do I do? And to us, that question almost took us off guard, because we've not had any trouble finding teachers. Like there's kind of a secret weapon, which is, a music teacher they've devoted their lives to becoming really good at this one thing, piano or guitar or singing. And they have chosen not to go into a traditional career path because they love that thing so much. And so they're playing shows. They're typically it's a gig lifestyle. And so that person is committed to music, and so they're not going anywhere. They want to teach, they want to play music, and they'll do anything to kind of build their lives around music. And so if we come along and we say, hey, we can give you consistency as a teacher, we can give you training, we can give you consistent hours, we can give you good pay, then they're all about that. And there are lots of people, lots of musicians, lots of teachers who are ready to go. And so we've seen in our corporate studios, in franchise studios, hiring teachers. Listen, people are a challenge. There's no doubt about that. But if I could have any kind of business that requires people, I would choose this business, because the teachers are so special and so committed.
Well, yeah, passionate about what they're doing. To your point, like, do almost whatever they have to do to not have to go get like a regular 9-to-5 type job, because they're musicians. Right. They love music. So, I mean, it's like when you hear comedians talk about like, hey, if I can just get to a point where, comedy, or, same thing with actors, like that's my livelihood, and I don't have to do a bunch of other odd jobs that I hate doing to hold ends together. I see this in other, like a personal training concept that we work with comes to mind. You guys probably know which one I'm talking about, but it's same type of thing, right? They go out and they hire personal trainers, and like I've had people ask, well, why would the personal trainer want to work for someone else? Or what happens if they start trying to steal clients and cut out the franchisee? And it's like, well, most of these personal trainers, again, like they would love for their income to be based off of teaching people fitness. That's what a lot of people went to school to do. They want to do it. Usually, though, their biggest challenge is they can't scale and they don't know how to do the marketing and drive the business, right? So I think you said it, stability, right? You plug into something like a Musicologie, they're not gonna have to figure out where the clients are coming from. They just get to show up every day, do what they like to do what they're passionate about, good, stable income. In an environment that's probably much better suited for it than doing it out of your house too, which is probably where a lot of private lessons happen.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I started teaching out of my own house. And when you teach out of your own house, you're also your own bill collector. And so that's terrible.
Yeah.
I've taught, and I've traveled around to other people's houses, which means you're constantly trying to get their 5-year-old to like stop paying attention to whatever's happening around them, the dog running by, right? If there had been Musicologie, I don't think I would have, a place where I could have a full slate of students and like benefits, healthcare, paid time off. These are things that we suggest to our franchisees that we do in our corporate studios.
It's like a real job, but
a real job
what you want to be doing, not
so I feel like I could
it all together.
Take a vacation.
I imagine in this day and age, there's a lot of parents that would just simply not be like, yeah, I'll take my kid to this person's house and, do music lessons in their basement or their living room or wherever it is. Like, not saying that anyone has ill intentions, but I just feel like, 15, 20 years ago was probably a lot more normal. But in this day and age, I think everyone's a little more wary of, unless you really know the person, like, I don't know that I'm
bring them to Musicologie.
Exactly.
Bring in Musicologie. We have cameras in every room. We have our doors all have windows in them, so it's all open and bright, and you can see everyone learning all their instruments. And it's about the community and the warm environment, and about what you learn just by being in community with other people around you too, right? Which is what you don't get when you go to one person's house and just
Well, the lady that, I don't know where my mom found this lady. Again, my mom had no clue what she was looking for. I think she was a great guitar player. She was very nice. I'm probably 6, 7, maybe 8. I now know she was a hippie, which I think is awesome. I mean, if I want a guitar teacher, I probably want someone that's a little bit of a hippie, but like my mom would take me to her house and I mean, I don't know that I think for the time it was probably pretty normal, and like she was great, but I think she was one of these, like you said, probably more accustomed to teaching like older, more experienced people, and anyways, I didn't stick with it. I wouldn't say it was because of her, but it just didn't end up clicking.
Too late. It's not too late.
All right. Well, I've got my challenge then to learn. We'll do round 2. Like, I don't know, give me at least 6 months, and maybe I'll have a guitar and I'll
go.
Let's go. Open it up.
Don't think I'm not going to hold you to that.
Walk us through. Yeah, please don't.
Can I actually add a couple other things about finding teachers that I think are really important to what we're building? One is that it is mostly it's part-time. It's almost impossible for it to not be a part-time job because your core hours are all after school. 3 to 7 is where parents want to bring their kids in, right? So even if you're teaching 5 days a week, you only have 4 hours each day. It's going to be part-time work. So the people that you're looking for are not leaving their current jobs and transferring to you. What they're doing is they're adding on to their existing life. And
Okay.
so what we do is we start a teacher hiring. We put up a job post really early on in our franchisees process, pre-opening process, start
Mhm.
collecting teacher applications right from the beginning.
Yeah.
That way we can have a sense of what is that flow? What's our funnel? It's just kind of like marketing funnel for
Mhm.
teachers and students. We have two of them. We're thinking about filling up that funnel. We start at the bottom with online job posts, but we fill up that funnel and see what it's going to look like from the beginning. So we have the whole trajectory of your pre-opening, which is about 6 months, 6 to 9 months we've
Okay.
seen, to collect and gather those teacher applications. So by the time it comes to actually bringing them in, you have had a lot of time to pull in from a lot of
Yeah.
different places. And more likely than not, those people are still able and willing to add on a little side hustle to
Yeah.
whatever gigging they have going on. The other thing that we do that is really powerful is that musicology support vets the musicianship of those teacher candidates. So the franchisee themselves does not have to watch someone play a flute
I was
and
gonna ask
think,
about that. Is
yeah,
there like an
right,
audition that they have to go through? Because you probably get people that are like,
yeah,
I'm a great musician, and then
yeah,
like, no,
yeah,
you're
I'm
actually
real
not.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, they'll just send
So they
a
do have to
audition video.
demonstrate that they
They do,
actually do have some skill and some knowledge, and then they go
yes.
through the training, the certification. But you guys are kind of doing a
But
lot of
we
that vetting. It sounds like so it's not
That's right. So
left to
we
the
vet
franchisee.
exactly.
That's and so that
Yep.
brings me to another question. And I know you guys are still fairly early into your franchising journey, but based on the franchisees that you have so far, like what are you seeing and what are you guys ideally looking for in your franchisees? Like are your franchisees musical? Are they you know, trained musicians? Some of them, none of them, all of them? Like what are you kind of looking for? Do you need to be a musician in order for this to be a business that could make sense for you?
Yeah, great question. And you do not need to be a musician for this to be a business that makes sense for you. In fact, most of our franchisees at this point are not musicians. They are people who have lived in their community for a long time. They're connected to the community. They're often parents, not necessarily though, but many of them are, and so they understand the value of music education, and they want to make an impact in their community. And so it's everybody loves music, right? It's like you said at the beginning, it's such an important part of everyone's life. You listen to it all day long. Sometimes it's in the grocery store. It's just everywhere, and it's emotional and it connects us. And so if a franchisee can feel that, understands that, and wants to kind of, we say, be the mayor of your studio,
Yeah.
of your neighborhood, because it's a community, and you're going to host concerts and you're going to host open mics, and those kinds of things are so vibrant and so exciting. And so if that's the kind of community that you want to build, and that's the kind of lifestyle that you want, that's the person that we're looking for. So a couple of examples: our very first franchisees are from here in our hometown, Columbus. They had their kids in lessons, and they didn't know we were franchising. They just called us up and they're like, "Hey, can we buy this studio? It's awesome." And we were like, "No, but you can
But
franchise." So we did end up selling them that corporate studio, and then they opened up a second one in a neighboring suburb, and they're
that's
doing
cool.
great. And so the husband is actually a musician. He's an amateur musician,
Okay.
and so that kind of drew him towards musicology. But we also have our Dallas franchisees that we just opened up this past weekend, and by the way, they broke both our opening timeline record. They opened in the shortest amount of time than anybody's ever opened in musicology, and they broke our pre-sales record. And so they're
Nice.
doing great. They have a great team of teachers, and they are the wife is a PTO president, husband is in finance, and so that really works perfectly
Yeah.
together. he's done all the financial modeling,
Yep.
and she knows the community and has a presence there. And so, not musicians, have 3 kids, but they're really leaning into the community aspect, and it's working really well.
Yeah, I love the examples, and it makes a ton of sense for me. I think, maybe that's a little counterintuitive for some people, because I just know a lot of people run into, some of that head trash where they're like, well, how could
Yeah.
I own a music lesson franchise or a home improvement franchise or a fit, when I don't have any experience in that industry. And it's you guys are looking for people that have the business sense, and then the ties
Yep.
and the connection, in the community, and also some
Yep.
sort of a why that's going to align with,
Yep.
your company's why. But yeah, to me, it makes all the sense in the world that, you got someone that's kind of that, mayor of the town mentality, because I imagine there's so much opportunity to go and, partner with local schools. And I
Yep.
mean,
So much.
any organization that's dealing with kids, I mean, churches, I mean, whatever the case is, like,
Yeah.
there's so much grassroots opportunity to go out and, kind of bring this to the community. So you need franchisees that are going to be willing and able to do that, and would enjoy doing that.
That's it. That's
So
what we need.
we'll get right back to the episode, but I wanted to quickly share a free resource with you. If you're curious about franchise ownership and want to learn more about how countless people, including myself, have leveraged franchising as a way to create more freedom for themselves and to take control of their livelihood, I've put together an ebook. It's called Franchise Wealth Creation, and it's the perfect starting point for anyone that's just curious to learn more about this whole franchise thing and how I've helped hundreds of other people navigate all the steps involved in understanding and researching franchising. So click the link in the show notes, fill out a short form. I'll send you the ebook. I think it's a great starting point if you're curious at all about learning more about franchising. All right, let's get back to the episode. We talked a little bit about like how this is different from, like private one-on-one lessons. There are some other, so before I ask you that, is what you guys do, is it all one-on-one? Are there any sort of like group lesson options, or like what is kind of the different, if I'm a parent looking at putting my kid in musicology, what are some of the different options that I could look at?
Our bread and butter is definitely private one-on-one lessons.
Yeah.
That's the bulk of what we do.
Okay.
We do have 3 other group style programs. So the first is our Toddler program. It's a mommy and me style class, 40-minute class with the kids 0 to 5, and they come in and they actually try real instruments. They learn real musical concepts, but it's all disguised as fun play. So
Sure.
that's really fun.
Yeah,
then we have a piano lab style class. We call it Accelerated Piano Lab. So it's 4 kids at digital pianos with headphones on. It's not group learning. They're each working on their own curriculum and their own pace, but there's a teacher there. It's a little bit long. You can make a longer class, a shorter price, a smaller price point. And so you get more time with your teacher back and forth to kind of keep that on track. And it really accelerates piano learning in kids.
That's cool.
And then our last group offering is rock stars, of course, because everyone wants to play cool music with their friends. And so we have a rock stars add-on. So if you're taking private lessons, you can join a rock band and not just play our set arrangements, but also learn how to arrange songs yourself, learn how to listen, learn how to be in a rock band. We literally just the other weekend went to this neighborhood ox roast at the school, and one of our rock bands played, but then right after them, another rock band played who were kids that were in our rock band program, but now they just have their own
they kept
band.
it going.
They travel and they tour, they like play songs around town. It's
That is
so
cool.
cool to see them empowered to make their own music and make
Did
their
they
own
drive there in a vehicle powered by vegetable oil?
I don't know if our schooling goes as
like
far as
circle. Yeah, that would have been that would have brought
We did sell that van, so maybe they bought it.
someone
Who knows?
somewhere
Yeah.
has that band. It
Yeah,
might be a
hopefully
junkyard.
the execs in the oil industry don't hear about this. We might have
Yeah,
targets on
Yeah.
our back. I've heard of people,
that's true.
disappearing after they come up with alternative energy sources.
I'm
True.
not saying that it is the way that you want to travel.
Yeah, not scalable, not practical at all, and you're gonna smell like French fries all the time,
But it
or
was
Chinese
cheap.
food.
Yeah.
Um, so like how does this? There's some other concepts out there that probably at least at first glance folks would say are similar to what you guys are building here. What would you say are some of like the key differences where where you differ from some of the other options out there that are doing this at a larger scale?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that we do is we focus on private lessons. A lot of the larger national operations are focused on group classes, rock band classes, almost exclusively.
Yeah.
And it's just they do it really well, but it's just a really narrow focus, and so it doesn't work for every kid. It doesn't work for every student.
Yeah.
We're really trying to take that traditional private music lesson model and systematize it, make it easier to deliver, and standardize it. And
Yeah.
those are all difficult things to do, but we've done it. We're building it now, and that's kind of our secret weapon is that traditional private lesson.
To me, it makes a lot of sense. Like, if I'm going to spend the money to send my kids for music lessons, like especially if they're starting as complete novices, like I almost feel like you probably can't really learn in a group setting. Like it needs to be that one-on-one to at least get to the point where you've got a foundation, right? And then maybe,
Yep.
yeah, okay, put them in, more of a group setting. It's, learn to be in a rock band type of thing. But plus there's so many different types of instruments. Rock bands do not incorporate every instrument that's
Yeah.
out there. So
Exactly
many
right.
different
Exactly
genres
right.
of music, like
Yep.
it does seem
Yeah.
like some of these others have a pretty narrow focus, like you said.
Yeah, and that what we do is to broaden the focus, and so a kid can come in and we're going to teach the fundamentals. So let's say it's a piano lesson, so we're going to take them through some traditional curriculum, but we're also going to add in things that will catch their focus and help them have fun. Because if a kid isn't having fun, then they're not going to stick around, and if they
Yep.
don't stick around, then they're not going to become a musician. They're not going to learn anything, and so it's really like they've got to learn, and we're focused on that learning, but we're also focused on just the enjoyment of it. And so what that means is we train our teachers to follow the student, and so student-centered learning is one of the key things that we make sure that our teachers are trained in, and so that they can they know how to engage those kids. Every kid loves some kind of music, whether it's music that they heard in a video game that they played, or a
Mhm.
TV show, or a movie, or something. So instead of saying like, "Hey, cool, we'll get to that years down the road. Right now, you're going to play Mary Had a Little Lamb out of this." Piano curriculum, we say, "Cool, you're gonna do these basic things, and yeah, we can come up with an arrangement for songs that are really exciting to you at the same time." And that's the magic of private lessons, is that you can tailor them. That's
Yeah.
why they're good.
Yeah.
That's why they've been around for so long. And so we want to systematize the business enough that everyone gets a consistent experience, but we have to also allow some room for those lessons to be student centered.
Yeah.
And that really is a core differentiator.
Yeah, that to me is a huge differentiator and not easy to do, but it sounds like you guys are doing a really good job of that. I wonder I wonder how many requests for K-pop Demon Hunter songs your
Oh my
teachers have
gosh.
been getting
I know.
over the past 6 months or however long.
Yes.
Oh my God. I would be
Yeah.
I would be just fine if I never heard another K-pop. And for those
Yeah.
listening, you must not have kids that are in whatever age group that is, that's watching that on Netflix. But it's always the part that they're singing in Korean that gets stuck in my head, and so I don't even
Oh,
know the words that are stuck in my head. It's pretty frustrating.
that's so fancy. You can sing in Korean.
I don't know what they're saying. I only assume it's Korean. I don't even know for sure it's Korean. That's just an assumption.
It's
But
K-pop, right? It's gotta
yeah,
be.
what exactly? What's the
Can
most?
I
Yeah,
oh,
please,
I just kinda wanted to make another plug for our differentiator, and I think it
please.
is our team, our musicology support franchisor team,
Yeah,
'cause we have been working for, I mean, 10 years to build this business and to build it, um, all of the things that, are sort of broken in this kind of business, which
yeah,
number one is scheduling. It's a scheduling nightmare to try to schedule one kid in one room, and each room has a different instrument in it. So you have to make sure that you're not booking a drum lesson in a piano room. And there's all sorts of areas where things can go awry. Things can
yeah,
and did go awry.
yeah,
Well, our partner, Kyle, he is a software engineer, and he built us a beautiful, beautiful custom software that solves all of those problems. It's student facing, it's parent facing. Parents can control their whole families really easily on one screen. It's also teacher facing, and it's
yeah,
manager facing, and it's franchisee facing, so that they can see all of their metrics and really see the health of their studio really easily. So that software is another thing that really sets us apart. We
yeah.
also have a whole in-house marketing team, which seems kind of crazy for our size. We are small, but we are growing, and we are planning for that growth. And
Yep.
marketing music lessons is a thing that we found that agencies didn't really know how to do very well. So we brought it
Mm,
in-house, and we have someone on our team who's been doing digital ads for private music lessons for over a decade now. And our marketing director, Courtney, is doing beautiful custom things. So from the pre-sales program on into your studio being open and live, our team helps you craft, helps the franchisee craft amazing looking ads, and take the guesswork out of that. So those
yeah,
two things are really, really huge. Not to mention the 10 years worth of how-to playbooks that Joseph and I have been writing for our community managers and for our owners, so that we didn't have to come in every day to our studios. So I
yeah,
do think that even though we're small, I think a franchisee will see that our team is huge and supportive, and also we're small, so you get to have a say in
there's
what
a
we're
ton of
building
it. Yeah,
and
there's
how we build it.
so many advantages to
Yeah,
plugging in earlier, where, I
yeah,
mean, I imagine all your franchisees today have direct access to the two of you. And,
yeah,
once you're, franchisee 118, like you don't have that type of access to
yeah,
the founders and the leadership team and all of that. And, yeah, you're right. Everything you just mentioned is huge. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people, especially if they've never built a business from scratch on their own, they can underestimate how difficult and time consuming and expensive it is to do what you guys have done over the past 10 or 11 years, build out a custom software that helps with the scheduling, which I can imagine is chaotic to try to manage, especially in any sort of a manual manner. Figure out the marketing. There's a lot of trial and error with marketing, right? A/B testing, and even just figuring out, like, who is your target avatar. Like, I could see why some agencies didn't really know how to market private lessons, because, like, it's the kid taking the lesson, but they're not paying for it. They're probably, hopefully, not on social media, right? The younger kids. So you got to get in front of the parents, and what's the right messaging for the parents. And um,
Yep.
yeah, it's a lot, and it takes a lot of time. And so, for the people out there that think, oh, well, why do I want to pay this franchise fee? Like, if I want to start a music studio, I'll just go start a music studio. Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck. You know, you could.
If I had to do it again, I would become a franchisee.
There you
There's
go.
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
so much done for you.
Yeah. So we'll kind of close on this because I know we're coming up on time here, but you know, like at what point? Because I assume, maybe I'm wrong. I assume you guys kind of just you wanted to keep music as, you know, kind of part of what you did for a living. That's where the idea for musicology came from.
Yeah.
Kay, you said that, you know, you wanted to kind of take what was broken, you know, in the music lesson space and do it differently. At what point though did you realize like, hey, this could be more than that? This could be bigger than that. Like, when did franchising even become a consideration? Was it early on? Was it later? Like, when did that come about?
Yeah.
We were ambitious early on, but you know, for us, we just wanted to open a handful of locations here in Columbus, and it wasn't until we did that, and then we actually we acquired a studio in Cleveland and partnered with a studio in Cincinnati, and so that was, you know, we landed in 3 cities, and at that point we kind of said, all right, we've got some things figured out. We're operating in multiple cities, in places where I can't drive to easily, and so we were really systematizing this business in a new, exciting way. And so, what's the next piece of growth? And franchising made a ton of sense. So this is just about 2 years ago. We were kind of faced with, okay, we can grow with the corporate model and, you know, raise some money and keep going, or we can pursue franchising. And one of the most exciting pieces of the business is working with people, and so we wanted to continue to do that and work with people who were in their community and invested in their community, because we really think that that's a really big business driver. And so that was, we kind of discovered franchising through some contacts, and it made total sense that that was the way that if we were going to continue expanding, that's the method that was going to be the most successful.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, super cool story. You guys are just getting started, but you know, I think you've laid a tremendous foundation from everything I've seen and heard. You've partnered with some great people that know franchising really well, and you know, you've built something amazing. So it's gonna be fun to see you know, where this thing goes over the next few years. So we will have you back on at some point to give us an update. I may or may not have a guitar with me at the time. Please don't hold me to that. You know, but it is something I would love to do. So where should people go if they want to see if there's a musicology in their area, if they're interested in, you know, getting their kids in lessons, getting themselves in lessons? Where should they go?
Musicologie.com. If you go there, you can see all of our information, and you can also see our franchising page, all about how to open a studio near you.
Awesome.
That's
we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, Musicologie with an IE.
Yes, it is. I'll put it in the show notes to make it easy for people to find, and so there's no typos. But we'll drop the link in there, and then for those listening, if the franchise opportunity piqued your interest, go to the website. You can always reach out to me. We'll check on territory availability, financial requirements, all that good stuff. See if it's a fit. So excited to see, you know, what you guys continue to build, but you're off to a heck of a start. So thank you so much for coming on, talking with us, sharing more about.
Thank you for having us,
Joseph and Kay.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.